So today we're going to make the comfy cozy scarf. Now this is a really cool project, I think, for a variety of reasons. One is it's a 2-row repeat, so it's going to be really easy to learn and to make. Two, this is my first try using universal yarn offbeat. Now this is 90% acrylic, 10% alpaca. It's a DK weight, but I love this put up because it's 150 grams, 586 yards, and I got an entire 7 inches by 78 inches scarf out of one skein, which I really liked. I also really like that you can feel the alpaca. You would think with 10% alpaca it wouldn't be so soft and luscious, but it is soft and luscious, I promise you. That said, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to use a smooth, plain merino wool yarn, and the reason is I actually already shot this video in this yarn, in this color, because it's what I had left. I didn't want to break a whole new skein, and it was very difficult to see. So all you're going to need is a skein of this fabulous yarn, or 575 yards, give or take, of another DK weight. You're going to need a crochet hook, size 7, 4.5 millimeter, or size needed to obtain gauge, and that's all there is to it. It's really easy to do, so let's jump right in. Now, the first thing we're going to do is chain 34, which I've already done. We're going to single crochet in the second chain from hook. Now, for those of you who are fans of the Hooked for Life channel, you know that I almost always work in the back or the bump of the chain instead of the front or the V, because I think it makes a neater edge and is easier to count. That said, if you want to work in the front because that's what you like, you go ahead. But I'm going to work in the back or the bump. So single crochet in the second chain from hook. So not that one, but this one. Now here is our repeat. We're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. And in the next chain we're going to make a shell, and for the purposes of this pattern it's 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, all in the same space, or the same chain. In this case it's a space later on. So there's our 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet in the same chain. Two, and please don't ask me what this green yarn is. I have no idea. What's in a bucket? Okay, so there's our first single crochet and our chain. Now we're going to skip the next 3 chains. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to single crochet in that next chain. So we're going to do this all the way across. We're going to skip 3 chains, shell in the next chain, skip 3 chains, single crochet in the next chain, and when you get to the very end, you'll have 4 chains left. You'll skip those 3 chains and you'll have a single crochet in your very last chain. And then you're going to chain 3 and turn, and we'll move on to row 2. So that's 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, all in the same spot. And then skip 3 chains. You have to watch, because sometimes when you're working in the back, sometimes that first chain's it's tiny and hard to see because that shell took up so much space. So skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next one. So work all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end of row 1. Here we are at the end of row 1, and as I said, our last single lines up in our last chain. So we're going to chain 3 and turn. 1, 2, 3. Now, at the beginning of row 2, I'm going to put 3 double crochets in the first single crochet. And hang on, because it looks like I split my yarn here a little bit, so let me fix that. There we go. So 3 double crochets in the first single crochet, and there is a note in the pattern notes that tells you that that first chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So we're going to have that one, and then we're going to add 3. Now we're going to skip 3 double crochets or half a shell. So we're skipping 1, 2, 3, and we're putting a single crochet in the chain 1 space. Skip 3 double crochets, that's half a shell. 1, 2, 3, shell in the next single crochet. So as always, that is 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. And yes, I tension my yarn weirdly, but just because I do doesn't mean that you should. It's just how I learned, when I learned, which was a very long time ago. So that was 3 double crochet, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, there's my shell, and then we're moving to that chain 1 space, single crochet. So we're going to do this till the end, and then in that last single crochet we're going to put, instead of a whole shell, because that would make the piece too wide, we're going to put 4 double crochets, and that's going to be symmetrical with the beginning because we had that chain 3 that counted as a double crochet, and then we're going to put 3 more. 2, 3. Here's my single. I got another shell. As always, if you want this pattern written out, you can scoot on over to the blog, which is linked in the description below, and you can read that pattern for free. And if you want an ad-free PDF copy, you can purchase one using the link in the blog post. But honestly, if you don't feel like you need the pattern, I really feel like you could do this scarf without it. Alright, then we're going to single crochet in here. And then here's what I was talking about. You have that 1 single crochet left at the end. So I'm going to put 4 doubles in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 3 shells in the middle and 2 sort of half shells, one at the beginning, one at the end. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now, this is row 3. We're going to single crochet in that double. Shell in that single. So honestly, for this entire scarf, the only thing that's happening once you get it set up is if you see a single, you're putting a shell. If you see a shell, you're putting a single in the middle. The only thing that's different on these 2 rows, and why it's a 2-row repeat, is the beginning and the end. So on the previous row, on row 2, we began and ended with 4 double crochets. But on row 3, we're going to begin and end with a single. So the other great thing about this pattern is if you have to put it down and walk away and come back later, it's super easy to figure out where you are in the pattern. It's a very easy way to sort of read your crochet. So what we have is the shells stacking up, but also sort of staggering. So I'm going to finish this row and come back and show you the end of the row. and let me do that. Here we are, I'm halfway through my last shell. So that's 1, 2, 3. So for my last single crochet, there is no chain 1 space, so I'm going to skip these 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put my last single crochet right in the top of that beginning chain 3. So this row, much like the first row, we have 4 shells and 5 single crochets. That's it, y'all. You're just going to make these 2 rows over and over and over. So I ended with a single. That means that I'm going to chain 3 and turn and start with my doubles. And again, this stitch multiple is, I'm going to have to look it up. It's in the pattern. If you want to make the scarf wider or more narrow, I believe it's a multiple of 8 plus 2, but I'm gonna check before I post this video. You're gonna keep doing these rows. Repeat row 2 and 3 until you get the length that you want. Now, you may notice that we got some chain action going on here, and I am the type of person that I cannot stand things to not be symmetrical. So I have written a final row that'll give me some chains at the end so the 2 ends look the same. You don't have to add that last row if you don't want to, but it made me crazy. So let me finish up this row right here, and then I'm going to show you the final row. So again, here's the original scarf. Here's the chain 3s that I was talking about. These are the chains that are left over from when I set it up. And this final row that I'm going to show you now, this is the last row that I stitched right here. It was a row 2. It began and ended with the 4 double crochets. And then I'm just putting some chains on the other end simply so it mirrors the first end. So let's do that right now on my little easier to see sample right here. So at the end of that row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn just like you've been doing. Put your single crochet right here. And now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put a half double in that single. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single in the chain space of the shell. And you're going to do that all the way across. It takes no time at all. Half double in the single. So there's my half double. Single, almost done. 1, 2, 3, half double. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and single in the last stitch, which is that beginning chain. That's all there is to it, and that way your end matches your beginning. The last thing I want to talk about on the original scarf, you can see this has sort of a lot of texture to it. I did not block this, and here's why. I liked the texture. I'm sure that I could have wet blocked this, pinned it out, gotten more width. It would have been flatter. You can kind of see if I pulled it out, you get a flatter look. But I really, let's see if I can go sideways here. I really like the sort of lumpy bumpiness of it, especially in this original yarn, because with the tweeds, it has sort of a rustic look to begin with. And again, with the feeling of the alpaca, the feeling of the natural fiber in there, I like it like this. But you could, if you wanted to wet block it out, you would probably get 8 inches wide, maybe 8.5, and you get a smoother, flatter look. So depending on what yarn you used, you might want to actually give that a try. In any case, please jump over to the blog once again if you need the pattern. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe. I'm so close to 10,000 and I would really like to get there. And like the video and all those other good things. And if you pop over to the blog, you can also follow me on Facebook, on TikTok, on Twitter, wherever is your platform of choice. Oh, let me not forget Instagram. Anyway, thanks so much, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.